Hello, I'm Josh. Thank you for being here. Let me tell you my story. My background is in fitness and wellness, and it started in 2009. Then I moved to Denver from my South Dakota town and started personal training in Denver, Colorado. Then a couple years into that, I started my own fitness coaching company. I built and ran that company for 7 years. I had a team and we were operating out of multiple locations within the Denver area. During that time, my girlfriend and I got married, started a family, and we were isolated with just the three of us. We didn't have much for support. She was going through her own stuff as postpartum new mom. I was going through my own stuff with running the company, running the team, new parenting. And for me, stress got to me. And in 2018, this is where I found breath work. I developed a deep lower lobe lung infection and it got really bad. It got really severe. After 6 months of being sick, one time within that 6 month time frame, I was like, babe, something's wrong. I'm not usually one to say, let's go to the doctor, but I was like, we need to go to the doctor. And she laughed. She's like, no, I don't believe you. You're okay. And I was like, no, babe, we need to go. So we went to the doctor, and sure enough, something was going on. They didn't know what. So we started blood draws. We started CAT scans and chest x-rays, and nothing could be figured out. One doctor sat me down at one point and he was like, we're diagnosing this as walking pneumonia, but that's not what this is. I've seen that on people and we can't help you anymore. And my wife and I were having scary conversations because we were in that place of not knowing, and conversations of cancer and looking for things that just were blind to us. I was going to bed at night with a fever, knowing that I would wake up in a few hours with uncontrollable chills. I just had to get some sleep. So I endured. And at the end of that rope with Western medicine, for me, it was I was done. I didn't want to get poked anymore. I didn't want to be left in question anymore, and I needed answers. So being in the fitness industry, I had access to a great naturopath, and we were already coaching with him, and my coaching was holistic already at that point. So I went to him and I found a functional medicine doctor, and together we used some logic and some science to say, all right, you've got a bacterial infection. It's deep in your lungs. That's why 2 rounds of antibiotics couldn't touch it. And when bacteria is that deep in your lungs, it's probably anaerobic, meaning it'll die in the presence of oxygen. And at that point, we had a path. And the functional medicine doctor said, all right, we're going to do some oxygen therapy. I want you to hit hyperbaric chambers. I went to my naturopath with that. And he said, all right, here's a couple breathwork techniques. And I was religious about that protocol. And within 2 months, after being sick for 6 months and in the dark and in question and scared, within 2 months, I healed myself with oxygen therapy, with breath work multiple times a day, with using a nebulizer. But it was really the consistency of the getting oxygen deep into my lungs and breathing properly that cured me. And at that point, I was like, what else is possible? How come nobody told me about breathwork before? And I had heard about it with the Wim Hof thing coming up and him breaking the ice for us on the mainstream of breathwork. So at that point, I dove in and I started studying, I started learning, I started seeking everything I could about the power of breath and what it can do for us. And I learned not only the biological amazing things that we can do to manipulate our biology with breath, but the psychological, the emotional gains that you can have by using breath work, and then the spiritual connection that deepens when you utilize breath in the right way and you work through those other layers of the physical, the mental, emotional to get to deeper levels of spiritual connection with yourself and with whatever you call God. And since then, we've moved back to our small South Dakota town, but I'm still teaching breathwork. I teach in classrooms and boardrooms. I work with the National Guard. I help build the Breath Source, which is one of the largest, fastest growing global breathwork companies on the planet right now. I also have a breathwork certification. And so my world is breathwork. And I'm still learning as much as I can because this is who I am now. I am fully on for breathwork. I am the breathwork guy, and I am happy to be here to help you understand how to use breath as a tool for you to navigate your world and your experience of being a human. So thank you for listening. I appreciate you. Keep breathing.